Whoa!
What are you, some government fucking spy?
Done!
Dad?
What the hell?
Jesus, I was gonna run that thing over. In front of the
And
house like that?
what? You get out! What the fuck?
I got out today. I'm
Are you
sorry. Hey.
no? Are you all right? Are you?
Yeah. I mean, they stitched me up as good as
God,
they
it's good to
can.
see you, man.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Yeah, my bad.
No, it's okay. No, it's good to see you too. I it was a rough time. It was uh it was probably the hardest thing I had to go through in a very long time.
Come on,
But
let's get you inside. Come on,
all right.
bolt this thing up.
All right.
Want me to do it? We would chop me the keys.
Nah. Well, actually, yeah, you know what? If you don't
Yeah,
mind.
chop me the
It
keys.
it hurts to turn my neck. Here, I'll unlock it for you. Pass us through.
All right, go inside. Go on.
The parking spot's like next to the turf here. It's a little weird to get
Oh
to.
yeah.
Our place or your place?
It's up to you, mate. Honestly, yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, come on. I got some chips from the bed.
Hmm.
I've just been watching Downton Abbey. So
Oh, okay.
your dad's gone shopping. So I mean,
Oh, nice.
we can just we can just chill there if you want.
No, that's okay. I'm not in a rush to be anywhere. I'm taking it easy. I haven't been to work. I went to the meeting today and that was it. They put out a pretty egregious announcement letting people know to pretty much stop fucking visiting Mirror Park.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Oh, put your feet up, mate.
I appreciate it.
You can sit on the bed. It's okay. It's just the bed thing.
Mhm. Yeah, it was been the longest 48 hours of my life, I'll tell you that much. I got no problem telling you everything. I know you're gonna not say anything.
Yeah, I mean, it was in no way your fault, but you scared us pretty bad there. I'll be honest.
I Dad, I scared myself. I I didn't I called Etta and said goodbye because I didn't think I was gonna live. I figured they were gonna put one in my skull, and they spared me and fed me to a mountain lion instead. And you know, both are situations that I never want to be in, but you can't train for a bullet, but you can train on how to approach animals. And it just so happens that I spent a good part of my career doing it. So I did what I could. I'm glad I didn't find hot lead in my body, but before I walked near the cat, I looked behind me to see if I could have a chance to run, and I had a gun aimed at the back of my head. But I'm wasn't trying to be dramatic. I wanted to do the right thing. and I tried.
So all that matters is that you're here, and so you did the right thing, son. So,
Yeah. I mean, do you want to know what happened?
ah, I got a pretty good idea. So I don't want to have to put you through reliving anything. I'll be honest.
I think talking about it actually helps. It's hard, but it helps.
Then sure, yeah.
Yeah. Um, there's a couple parts that are hard to talk about, but I'll get through those. Um, I was going off duty to go back up to the house. I had put my gun up, put everything up. I actually forgot my civilian firearm in my locker, and looking back at it, thank God I did. But there's an individual who I will tell you the name of, but I ask that you just kind of keep it to yourself. Not that it's a secret thing, but I told Ziggy without giving a name, and he was pretty upset about it. So I don't want to upset him or have him be irrational or put his anger on someone else. But do you ever meet a PD applicant by the name of Pullet
Mm,
O?
no, it doesn't ring a bell.
Mr. Pullett's been trying to apply for the PD for about 3 months. His full name is Pullet Ovar.
Right? Right?
And yeah, we told him in the interview that he needed to reach out to the government about some kind of a name change because, or not even a name change, just some form of an abbreviation. Because, yeah. Anyway, um, he's been reaching out trying to get an answer, and I'm not part of PNT anymore. So I had literally walked out, I signed my name, and before I could put out my 311 saying that I was 1042, Bullet comes running up to me and he wants to know what's going on with his application. And I told him that I wasn't part of PNT and that I didn't know what was going on, but I would reach out and try and get an answer for you. We started talking for a little bit. A couple minutes later, between 4 and 6 people surrounded me uh, right in front of MRPD. And it was who I would have to imagine was Hydra. I can't prove it, but I have a damn good grudge and hunch that it was them for obvious reasons. But Pullet looked at them and said, "Get the fuck out of here. I'm talking with this guy. I've been waiting 5 hours to talk with this guy." And he started getting aggressive against them. And I said, "Oh, hell no. Pullet's about to get fucking killed if he keeps this up." So I stepped in and said, "Pullet, stay out of it." And I looked at who I thought could have been Miguel. Can't prove it, but I, again, very strong hunch.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Miguel, give me 2 minutes, and then I am yours." Because I wasn't running from 6 people, and I wasn't going anywhere. So I said, "Just give me 2 minutes, and I'll be good." And he goes, "Nope, you're coming with us." So I went to go walk away. Pullet started making comments, and I looked at him. I said, "Pullet, stay out of it. Just stay safe. I don't even remember what I really said. I remember saying something to him,
Mm-hmm.
and he went to reach for his phone, and everybody there's pretty much told him, "Don't touch your phone. You'll regret it." So he watched me get loaded, or not even loaded. He watched me get into the trunk of a car, and then they shut it, and we started driving. And the conversation went as you would expect. The PD, this, that. And I told him, I said, you realize that out of anybody who has the power and the word to actually make change, I am the one to do it. I said, have you ever heard me or seen me be the irrational guy? Have you ever heard me or seen me be the one who wasn't about the individual? Have you ever heard or seen me not be the one who wasn't willing to put his best foot forward for sake of building a bridge between the police department and the individual? And I knew it was over when he said the words, "I think we're past that point." And I knew where this was headed. And started going down a bumpy road. There was no way of telling where I was, but I started going down a bumpy road, and we stopped at the peak of the nudist colony up there over by the lumber mill.
Right.
They popped the trunk, and the conversation continued. And I told him again, I said, "This isn't on me. There's a lot of we and us and they." I said, "I'm me." I looked at him and I said, "Miguel, when have I ever wronged you? When have I ever done anything that would put you in a position?" I said, "If there's anything I know, it's how to speak to an individual." I said, "Give me that opportunity. Don't waste that." And he asked me if I knew about Remington's death. I read the
Yeah.
report, and I know what that the top of that report said. And I
What's
told
that?
him nobody is to speak about Remington under any circumstance to anybody outside of the meeting room.
Right.
So I did what I knew how to do best, and that was honor that, even if my life was held against my will. I gave him a very deadpan lie and told him no. And he said that right there is the exact problem with the PD. The fact that you had no idea. And I told him, and this is not untrue, I said, "Miguel, this is the first time in 3 days I've spent more than 3 hours on duty." I said, "I haven't been around," which was true. Doesn't mean I didn't know about Remington, but I told him it's impossible to communicate when you don't know. You're not around to talk to people. So he started going down his line, and I cut him off and I said, "Can I ask a question?" And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "If this is going where I think this is going, can I please have an opportunity to say goodbye?" And if there's any reconciliation to what happened, not that this was good, but he actually gave me the privacy to make one phone call to say goodbye. And um, I was trying to figure out who the best person to call was. And I didn't know who was around, but I was going off duty to see Etta. And I figured if Maple was busy and he couldn't answer, that would have been a problem. If Ziggy wasn't around, that would have been a problem. I didn't know if you were around. I didn't know if Matt was around, but I knew Etta was around. So I wanted to call Etta because our last conversation was, I don't want to say it was bad. It wasn't bad, but it was emotional. I didn't want to let that be the last thing Etta knew of me. And I called and I simply told her that I loved her, that I hope there was a time I would see her again. And she asked if I needed a pickup and where I was. And my most gut wrenching response was that told her I wish I could tell her. And she asked me a question that only you would know and only this family would actually know. And she said, Flop, is it a 1096? And I was afraid to give a yes or no next to about 6 gang members. And I gave a very long, broken sigh and said goodbye. And I hung the phone up and they loaded me back into the trunk. We started driving again. And who I thought was Miguel was driving. He said, You know, Flop, the best version of you was when you were a park ranger. And shortly after, they popped the trunk. I got out and they told me to go meet my maker. Um, a mountain lion next to the tunnel. And I walked near it and I had a split second where I looked back just to look behind me. Thought, the tunnel's right here. What are the odds? And I saw a gun trained to the back of my head. And all I thought was that if I get chewed out by a mountain lion and then left with a bullet in my head, I don't think we'd be having this conversation right now. And I'd like to think that I was sort of given a second chance at life because I was completely determined, Dad, that I would not be sitting here right now. And the mountain lion jumped on me and shredded me apart for God knows how long. It felt like forever, but fuck's sake. Um, and then everything went black. And I mentioned that beginning part about pull it. Um, And I asked Maple today while giving my statement. I asked him, I said, did Pullet call 911? The man trying to apply for a job at the police department watched me get loaded in the back of a car with a gang and did not call 911.
What?
Yeah,
You're shitting me.
good one for his resume. I spoke with Sky today. She came to the house to check in on me. She heard I was out. And I asked for Ziggy and Etta to step away and that it wasn't personal and I needed a word with my lieutenant. And was told by Maple that apparently yesterday Sky ripped him a new asshole. And I told her about what happened with me. I said, "Are you aware that that man didn't call the police for me?" And her words were, and I quote, "For as long as I have a say in it, that man will never have a job here." Which, personally, not my case for obvious reasons. But I would have hit that man with accessory.
Yeah, he deserves much more than losing a job.
I think they had a chance to find me. And
Yeah, I agree.
he wasted it. To think that I tried to save his life so that I had an alibi and a witness, it was the right thing to do. And it almost cost me everything.
I think one of the only reasons it didn't cost you everything was because of who you are as a police officer, though.
Mhm.
Was because of that respect you've gained over the years. Because, let's be honest, if it was Den Shiesty or a cop of similar in a similar vein, think they would have let him have it out with a mountain lion?
No. In fact,
Absolutely not.
in fact, I forget if I didn't mention this, I apologize. I asked them who the problem was and how I could resolve it, and they told me, and I quote, "You can blame Den Shiesty." I think I'm the only officer that they've gotten a hold of that they didn't shoot. And not that that's brownie points, but I think it's very telling that I think I bought myself a second chance at life.
Yeah, I'm afraid you were just a message. That's it.
Had to be.
Did anybody tell you about the tweet Miguel made afterwards?
I uh I didn't read the report, but I was curious to see what evidence they had. Probably unprofessional of me, but
Etta
I
told
saw
me
it.
that Miguel made a tweet about you afterwards, so
Yeah, he says something about smoke that flat pack.
yeah, something childish anyway.
Um,
Listen, there's people working the case. I made sure of it. And I think that it was gonna happen anyway, but I wanted to double check. And It's good people. I won't. It's Riker. I don't know who else, but I know Riker's working it at least, and I know they're, you know, he's a good lad, and he's a good detective too. So
I trust Riker with everything. He's a good one.
yeah,
He's a really good one. I appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah. I also wanted to make sure Liz's case was being looked into too, and assured me of that as well.
Okay.
Because, well, the PD hasn't exactly had a good track record with things lately.
They haven't. We fail to fulfill cases, and it shows. Um, I think with everything that's gone on, I told Sky something today that I'll tell you, and I'm not letting my emotions get to me. I'm giving time on this because I think time is what I need. But I told Sky, I said, I think I might need to take some time away. Um, maybe a couple days, maybe a couple weeks. I don't know yet. But um, I told her that I'm scared to do my job right now. I said that there's something traumatic about what I went through that scared me. And I don't know if it was a mix of feelings because of other things, other trauma that I've been dealing with, or if it was its own thing. But I said that if I was to ever be pulled over or get pulled over by, I'm sorry, if I were to pull any of them over, I don't think I would be able to handle myself. And I don't mean in a bad way. I mean, I think I'd be too scared to do my job and think on my feet. But I'm aware of that. And I've never felt that way before. I've never been scared to look at a mountain lion, but here I am. Maybe a coward, maybe not. I never thought I'd feel this way as an officer with all my years of experience, Ed.
I was gone for 4 years. Uh, I was the assistant chief. Whether or not I was a good one is a different question.
You were a good one. People that didn't think so. Uh,
Not the point. Not the point of the story. All right.
I'm sorry. You were a good leader. Don't let anyone tell you differently.
I I spent a significant amount of time in Parsons in my early years as a police officer. After I was kidnapped and forcibly given narcotics, and they try to force me to do a bunch of shit I didn't want to do. I was scared for a long time. That was a tough time in my life. I don't think I was ever not scared after that. But being scared doesn't make you a coward. Being scared, having fear, keeps you alive. No one's going to fault you for that. I want you scared because I want you alive. Everybody does. I'd rather you be scared and making smart decisions than be fearless. I'm scared. Your dad's scared. Why do you think he's never been picked up before? Because he uses that fear and he's smart about it. It's just about taking some time and learning to control it. That's all it's going to take. Is time and attention and love from the people around you, like me and Ziggy and Rue and Etcha and your dad. And just take all the time you need. And even if it turns out in the end that you don't want to go back to work, don't go back to work. Do what's right for you, man. Whatever choice you make, I'll support.
Thank you. Drugs have been bad up here recently.
Yeah, pretty
Um,
bad.
yeah.
So,
I think right now what I need is time with family. I know Rue
yeah.
was worried sick.
Mm.
I asked a few members of the club. I actually just got done talking with Kelly Dean. I don't know if you met Kelly, but
I don't know.
he's a good one. He's I would say one of the more humble ones. But I asked him about Rue and he's like probably Rue's best friend. One of knows Rue very well. Um I don't know if you know who Beach Crew was many years ago.
No.
Okay. They're kind of an offset to the BBMC, but I guess Kelly Dean and Rue were both around it. So they've known each they have history. And Rue was or I guess Kelly was saying that Rue has been doing about as quote unquote good as she can be, which tells me that she hasn't been in the best of minds. And
I, I spoke to Rue. Uh, I spoke to Ziggy too. They were both. I mean, everybody was worried, but they were both worried pretty bad, as you can expect. I think, Rue was struggling because I guess it surprised me a little bit. I think Ziggy was feeling it pretty bad, and I didn't think she wanted to bother him and reach out and talk to him about everything. And maybe they didn't get a chance or just didn't want to bother him because he was upset too. And then when I spoke to her, it was she. I think she can't. She feels like she can't really speak to the club about it. She can't really express her emotions too well with those people. And then she kind of said something that I had to correct her on because she basically said that she values herself on her usefulness, and you know, I had to tell her that's not how that works. That's not how she shouldn't be valued on her usefulness. She should just be valued as a member of the family, not on her usefulness, whether that's part of the club or anything. She should just be valued, period. And I don't know whether anyone's told her that before, and maybe that's why she's had trouble expressing herself around the club, and I don't know. But I think we had a pretty good chat yesterday, and yeah, I uh, I think I spoke to her about not going. I did have to say the hard thing, but I made sure that she's not going to go for a bottle if it got too rough, which I don't think she has. Um,
She's really grown up. She's been doing a lot better.
yeah,
I haven't seen her yet, so I have obligations to that I want to make sure of sooner than later. But
yeah.
I think what scared me the most asking about Rue, I would have hated the thought of her losing another father so soon because she's made so much progress, and I would have hated to throw that away. She's never going to be perfect, but no one's
No,
ever going to be perfect.
no, she's a good kid though.
Yeah. A little rough around the edges, but didn't fit my criteria for my reasoning. But I think, and I'm going to make you aware of it so that you know. It'll change the topic, but also a little relevant. On my medical chart, they never noted uh, my morphine addiction, and I was told that they were using morphine as a painkiller for me. Um, I maybe not today as much as I will tomorrow because I just got off of it and I'm still leaning off of it, but I was away from that shit for so many years. And it wasn't the doctor's fault. I was clearly in pain, but it's gonna be hard to move past that next few days.
How is that not on your chart? How do they miss that off?
Many years ago, it was in my chart. It was sort of a word of mouth thing that people knew. Etta made sure it's in my chart now. I can't blame the doctor for doing the right thing. It was my fault for not telling them any opportunity at the hospital prior about it.
Or did they ask anybody before they gave you, like, medicine? Probably not, right?
Probably not.
No.
I
Are
know
they
Etta
allergic
wasn't
to
happy about
peanuts
it.
as they feed you peanuts? No. Well, I think I can blame a doctor here. Yeah, I think I can.
Um, yeah. I mean, it started off with Dr. Skip, and then it was Dr. Kizu, who has been lovely to me, but it was just reading over my chart and let me know. So I don't know who was the one that administered it, but
Right.
you are an emergency contact. I'm sure if you want, you could probably ask. They could tell you. I don't want to go on duty with a muggy, foggy mind. So,
Well, the same goes for you then it's been said the Jiggy N rule. If you feel yourself needing anything or slipping at all, then you ring somebody.
hmm.
Don't try and do anything on your own. You said that the last conversation you had with Etta was a rough one. Why was that a rough one?
um, Etta was very emotional. She was scared. And it was put simply, because I don't want to misquote Etta, it was
Okay.
the kind of scared where what hurt me the most was not knowing how to comfort her. She was worried about losing the family. She was worried that people were going to have a big outburst. In her mind, she saw the end of everything. A little bit of a doom spiral, but at the same time, I hadn't talked to anybody, so I only had what Etta was telling me. And I I didn't know what to say, and it broke my heart. And we were looking over the sunset down off of LSIA by the water. And the only thing I could do was be there for my sister. Um, while we had the conversation, Maple had been in the ICU,
Mm-hmm.
and I think a lot of it had to do with maybe emotions off of that and more the fear of knowing Maple's in this position. I don't ever want to see it ever happen again. And I think she was valid in her being scared. And I'd honestly rather her be scared than not. Uh, Otherwise, that would just culminate and build inside of her, and I don't want that for her. I'd rather her tell me when she needs to talk. But I was upset because I didn't know how to help. I felt helpless.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I that's why when I called her, I told her that I loved her, and that I wanted to see her again soon. And she even asked me on the phone, "Is this about our last conversation?" And I said no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
All right.
that's where I'm at right now. But I think right now it's road to recovery and
Mm-hmm.
being with family and trying to do the right thing. So I'm I'm sorry. There's been a lot of uproar, we'll say, in the family.
Well, it's not your fault, mate. I don't. I think fault's a strong word. Um,
Outward.
Fault, as
Mm,
in putting blame on anybody,
yeah, yeah.
because even to say it's Ziggy or Rue's fault is difficult because you know they've got their own reasons for doing things and they're in very difficult positions. And everyone, I said it to Rue yesterday, and I didn't want to bring it up yesterday or the day before, whenever it was, when we were at the hospital with you there. At the end of the day, none of it matters because when we're at that hospital and we're looking at you on a hospital bed with strapped to machines with a tube down your throat, that's that's what we're trying to avoid, and that's the only reason there's any uproar in the first place. I didn't say that out loud. What I said out loud was that none of it matters. That's what matters. The only reason anybody's getting upset is because to be we don't want anyone on those hospital beds. And we definitely don't want anybody on those hospital beds because of the actions of anybody else in the family. And that's all it boils down to. That's it. It's as simple as that. There's nothing more to it. I just want everybody to be okay. If I can get that, I'm a happy man.
You know, I'll do everything in my power to do that. And I agree. When you really boil it down, the first time I dealt with trauma, actual, real, egregious trauma in recent time, was getting on duty, responding to a shootout in Vespucci, and officers asking me, "Can you please identify if this is your husband and daughter in the back of this ambulance?"
Yeah, that's not
That,
something
yeah,
you should be having to do.
I immediately had to go 42. I couldn't do it. I was afraid to look back and see them. And as you would expect, the bloody, messy train wreck I had to see was just not, I don't know. And then when Maple was in the ICU, it came to me in fear.
Yeah,
And even Ziggy came to me with some fear. And I realized, and honestly, I guess I just couldn't find the words, but you put it perfectly that really what this boils down to is I think everybody just wants everyone to be safe and okay.
yeah, that's it. Just that everyone's gonna have their own ideals and morals, and some people like Ziggy and Rue are gonna have their own. What's the word? Like the cops in the family are gonna have their morals.
Mhm.
Ziggy and Rue might have their. I don't know what the word is, but the club is gonna have their grasp on them
Expectations.
expectations, right? So that they have a duty, right? They have a duty to do. So they're coming at it with a duty. The cops are coming at it with morals, and so there's going to be a clash of ideals there. Whereas it needs to be boiled down as Ziggy and Root don't want to hurt you guys, and you guys don't want to hurt them, and everyone's going to agree with that, and it just needs to be figured out. Just needs to be figured out as to what the best way that the family can make sure that that doesn't happen. Because is it an inevitability that if Rue is going to carry on being a criminal, a violent criminal, is it an inevitability that she's going to get involved in a shootout with police? Yeah, it probably is. So how are we going to manage that? Like, because if she's going to do that, then it might be inevitability. If you look at the probability as x tends to infinity, then if x equals y, then y is also going to tend to infinity. Then you guys are going to clash at some point. That means at some point in one of those shootouts, Brew is going to be in a shootout, and you are going to be in a shootout, which means there's going to be a chance that she's going to shoot you or you're going to shoot her. That's just how probability works. So we've got to sit down and figure out what the best way of making sure that doesn't happen.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I know Rue and Matt had a very nice conversation, and Matt said that he respected and cared for Rue, but he also said, I want to make it very clear that just because you're family doesn't mean I'm going to offer the exception. Matt said that he would still uphold and defend uh,
Yeah.
the civilian population. And Rue said that she would expect nothing less from him, and she respected his reasoning and justification.
Right. And I agree with Matt. And I expected that from Matt. But here comes the issue. Is that we can expect the same thing probably from Ziggy. And maybe even Rue. The club is not going to expect the same thing from them. The club isn't going to allow them to do that.
Do what exactly?
The club isn't going to allow them to hesitate.
No. You know what the reality is, though, Dad?
What's that?
That's one of those things that is unfortunately going to be out of our control. And I've learned to accept that it's going to be out of my control. And I have to look at it as an optimism, say that I hope that never happens. But in the back of my mind, I know that day would come.
It's. I get where you're coming from, but to me, it's. My worry is if one of them hesitates, they they put the club at risk, and then what's stopping the club from turning that gun on them? That's what I'm worried about. So as much as it might be out of our control, I'd rather plan for it because I can see that kind of thing happening. We don't know what happened with Winston, but they've blooded at least one person out. I don't want to. I don't want to be the reason that something happens to Ziggy or Rue. But at the same time, I gotta look out for my family. It's a tough spot. I just want
Yeah.
everyone to be okay.
I don't know if you knew about this, but the war with Chang'an is over.
It is
Mm-hmm. Confirmed.
good.
Um, Not that that makes anything better, but since they settled, I believe we'll have some downtime, not having to live, not to say in fear, but with, you know, looking behind our backs at every corner.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to spend this time with my family. We plan a big fishing trip or something. But
That'd be nice. Yeah.
yeah, Matt actually suggested that.
Is it Etcha?
No, Matt did.
Matt?
Matt wanted to plan a big fishing trip.
God.
That's what I said. I I was impressed. I mean, the
Well,
other day it was me, uh, Sean, Etta, Ziggy, Rue. We tried to get Matt on board, but he was apparently one of two officers on duty. So I understood
oh.
why he opted to serve.
Yeah.
But I appreciated this conversation more than you probably know.
Well, anytime. And like I said, I think you need to take all the time you need to away from the PD and get back to work or not when you're ready. And whatever you want to do, I'll support you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You need anything? You need you need me to go shopping for you? You need money?
No, no, money's good. I have a good bit of money right now, and
Oh yeah? Yeah, how much?
260.
Fuck. I got
I have enough.
200 there.
I have enough to say let's keep our eye out on a business.
I saw one actually, yeah. But it was a bloody coffee building. It was rubbish. Yeah.
You wouldn't
On Calais
you wouldn't want to start
Avenue.
like a tea shop
No, but it's Bean Machine. You don't make.
in the plaza?
Yeah,
That would have been great, right next to the apartments.
it's 625 grand though.
Maple's got, I think,
Yeah,
250.
but we don't want coffee. We don't like coffee. Yeah.
Pay for yourself. What's wrong with coffee?
It's it's dirt.
Okay, and tea is grass.
You you know, you just took a year off the king's life. I just hope you know that. And he hasn't got many left. So
Yeah, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Well, keep your eye out for a business. I'm very serious in wanting to do something,
Okay.
and
Yeah, me too.
I think it'd be I think it'd be nice to get the family in on something.
100%. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Might take a walk back to my place, maybe go hang out for a minute or two, and then go catch some shut eye.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, you just give me a ring if you need anything. All right.
I will. Thank you.
And I'll show you where.
Thank you.
Come on, this guy. Come on, I'll walk you home. Don't fall.
Thank you. The fuck? Hearing doors close.
It's all right.
Hmm. What do you got planned today?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, Jesus. People driving
It's
like
fine.
maniacs. I'm gonna try not to wake Roosh. We had to put her in a wheelchair and roll her back home because she was sleeping on the hospital floor. You want
Yeah.
anything? You hungry at all?
No, I'm all right. I'm all right. You guys
Okay.
keep rubbish food. I keep good food. It's fine.
I mean, we got Teddy. He bakes.
Yeah, that's true.
We got a baker.
You bring those figures home that someone made for you?
What's that?
Someone made you some like little wooden figurines. I hope someone brought those home.
If
I
they
think it might
did,
have
I
been
didn't.
Teddy.
Oh, I didn't. I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him in like a week or so. I'll have to reach out and talk to him.
All right. Well, you get some rest, okay? And I'll see you tomorrow.
Sounds good, Dad. If you need anything, give me a call.
Love
Enjoy
you,
your day. I'll
son.
talk to you soon. Love you too.